Here we are in my Magic Genie. This is my Magic Genie. I start here with everything. Let us ask, what is Meld? To blend or combine. In a card game, it's a set of hands that you lay down. Software. Meld is a visual diff and merge tool used by developers to compare and merge files and directories and version controlled objects. Ooh, I think we're getting closer. All right, guys, just having a little bit of fun with ChatGPT and trying to figure out what is Meld. Meld is actually a new competitor or just another player in the game of content creation. So we have OBS, which is, I believe, probably the market share holder when you look at software for streaming. We have XSplit. We have a lot. Twitch even has their own if you want to do that. But today we're talking about Meld. We're going to look at how to set up Meld, what features it has, what it might not have, and then also talk about what we like about it and what we don't. Stay tuned. This is Meld. All right, here we are. This is Meld Studio. You want to go to meldstudio.co to get our download. So let's go here and let's check it out. Stream with confidence will handle the complexity, go live, perfect audio, flawless video, and cutting edge performance. No watermarks, no limits, 100% free. Here we go. We have an example streamer going through. We have an audio mixer. Looks nice. It's integrated with Elgato, Twitch, YouTube, and Streamer.bot. Streamer.bot. Now that's an interesting one. Live stream, record, create works on Mac and Windows. Built to multi-stream, unlimited destinations, 100% free. That's a big one. So if you're using Restream.io or another paid service potentially, this might be an option that's free. So we have Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, or a custom RTMP all at the same time. No compromises, no complications. So we'll have to check that out as well. Set the scene like never before. We've got transitions. We've got perfect shapes. So if you're using shapes in OBS, like to make your camera look like a triangle or a square or a circle or whatever shape you're looking for, you had to add that as a filter. It looks like Meld has that built in. Also, post-production effects in real time. Make yourself look terrible live. I don't know if we want to use that. Anyways, control your sound, built-in audio effects. We have the Twitch VOD track, which is right there, not buried in the settings, which it's really just one tick box. It's not that hard to set up. However, it is a discrete audio source that you have to set up no matter what you do for this. To exclude audio, you need a separate track for music. We'll look at see how that works in Meld. We have monitoring, advanced audio capture, VSTs. VSTs work just as well in OBS, so no big deal there. All right, I'm going to get downloading, and then we'll see you back actually in the platform here shortly. All right, we are in Meld Studio, and first off, we have some familiar things that we've seen in OBS. We have scenes. So I've added a new scene and we just renamed it, just starting, haven't added anything to it. We have layers. So layers would be sources in OBS. And so you can add whatever you would like here. Image browser, a duplicator, which sounds like bringing in scenes as a source. We have Markdown, which is sort of new, a rectangle, and then we have widgets, Spotlight and Combo. The widgets are things that are new to Meld, which a Spotlight lets you hone in on a source and so on and so forth. So let's see, we have Audio Mixer. So let's go ahead and add, we can rename this. We'll call this mic. We will select a device. So we use Wavelength Microphone FX. And there you go. It tells you where your peak audio is. I like that. That's nice. If we make this is as big as you can make that here, and I'm sure you can move these around. The plus sign here, it looks like, so we have filters that we can add, and you would add those right here. So we have gain, magic mic, and stereo panner. If you edit, you can pick left channel, right channel, and delay. And you can also, here's where you would exclude from your Twitch VOD track. Microphone is, mine is a mono, so I would select mono here. And that way it would never be looking for two microphones as a source. So there you go. You can add as many of those as you would like. You have screen options here. You can zoom in, zoom out, 50%, 100 to 200. We are on fit right now. Outputs. So outputs are going to be, we have a virtual camera, and that is the only output. And then we have an inspector. Now we have go live, we have record, and we have clip. Clip is set to 90 seconds. I'm not sure if that's the default, but let's see, we have preferences. So let's go ahead and go through the preferences. So we have general, we can add a stream output. This is where you would log in to, so we have Twitch, we have YouTube, and we have a custom destination. So if you go to Twitch, it's likely just going to ask you to log in through here. Right now it has just a default stream ingest right here. When you log in, it's going to replace it with those details. So I am not going to log in right now because that'll give away my stream key, which is not what we're doing on this video. So we'll go back. You have your Twitch, you have to log in to get that. You have a canvas, so you can select 4K all the way down to portrait 720, portrait 1080. This is one of the things I was thinking about is, are we going to have vertical canvas? The thing that I want to do is, do we have vertical canvas on a side-by-side next to a horizontal canvas? Because some people like to stream to Twitch and they'll do horizontal, and then they stream to YouTube and they might do vertical, or they stream to TikTok and they'll do vertical there. And since we can have multiple stream keys going at the same time, just like you can if you download the AITUM app, that's AITUM, you can do that in OBS. So the difference here is, can I have multiple canvases, canvi, if you will. Standard format is MKV, which is kind of the, if your video gets borked, you can pick it back up. I always record in MKV. You have MOV and FLV as your other options. You can enable clipping, which will turn on the clip setting up at the top. Our hardware encoder is set by default. Doesn't give you the option of which hardware encoder you're using. And then you can set your destination for where your videos go. You set it where your screenshots go. You can do audio, video, bit rates. Set this to, I'm going to do best quality, high quality, very similar to what OBS has, minus the P1 through P7 settings. We go to plugins. We have Meld Studio. You can search for plugins. The only plugin we have right now is its own, which is Meld. WebSocket server, there's some things in OBS that obviously you do with WebSocket server, and this gives you those options there. Your audio output device, just one option there, which is interesting. So there's not a lot of options there. Virtual camera you can install. Not going to do that in this video guide. Smart guides, these kind of help you with your snapping and like building your scenes. Your transitions you can set to cut, fade, morph, or move. We have in, out, cubic. We have a ton of different options you can do. In, circular. So whatever you want your transition to do, you can do that here with those. Easing curve, which is basically whenever the scene goes in and goes out, that's what will happen whenever you do a transition. You can tell it how long to go just by doing There's a slider whenever you mouse over. So the default is 1000 milliseconds or 1 second. Then we have hotkeys. So hotkeys are, these are going to be handy. So we have a clipping will be a great hotkey to have. I'll probably put that on the Stream Deck as a hotkey. You can start, stop streaming, toggle recording, delete your selections, fit to canvas, stretch to canvas. That's nice too. And you can enable or disable any of those as you wish. So that is settings in a nutshell. If I click anywhere on the screen, that gets rid of that. And now we have a screenshot option, which is you have this in OBS. You can take a screenshot anytime. You just need to set it as a hotkey, but you can do that from OBS as well. Edit only has 4 options in the menu, so you can already tell compared to OBS, we have far fewer options in here, but I think that's on purpose. I think that was by design. I think it was supposed to be easy. So we have import OBS session, and I believe I can take all my scenes and all my settings from OBS and pop them into here. So right now it's gathering all my sources, syncing. It is actually not even asking what I have listed or where. It just went out and physically captured every single scene that I have. And some of these are my vertical scenes, and some of these are my horizontal scenes. So that's interesting. So you're going to get a little bit of inception going on right now because this is what it pulled in. The interesting part is the things that I'm using right now are, I have all of the main things are on here that I'm using in my scenes, which is kind of cool. The bigger problem is some of these aren't tied to devices yet. So you'll have to go and click on these. But for right now, let's just kind of click on this and see. I think they're only giving us this little arrow, this little triangle right here that says, hey, I can't find this. You can't find the source because the source is not live right now. That would be my capture card, and it is not on right now. And so that's okay. So this screen, you're getting the inception screen because basically it is capturing itself. This is what I'm using OBS to record this. And I'm also looking at the screens instead of screens in Meld because Meld is also displaying this. So there's an option to turn this off in OBS to say don't show these windows or do show these windows. But let's just take a look at it and see what we have. So we have presets. We can change kind of what these windows do. So if I go to center display and then I go to red moon, so I can do this as a preset effect. If we hit none, we can just do none. So if you did this on your camera, you could go in and add a preset to your camera if you wanted to. And these are all the options that you get here. You've got sepia, you've got tritone, TV screen, 3D, all the different things. And basically each source has all of these options here. So you can stretch it 100%. I kind of like this because in OBS, you would right click on what they call a layer here. You would call it a source in OBS, and you would basically have to go through a whole big menu and find all of these. This allows you to go through and find what you have here as a, and it even put the sources where they go. So if I turn on the camera here, I'm not sure if it'll actually turn the camera on. Let's see. Oh, it did. So I'm not using the camera in OBS right now, and so it turned it on here. You can turn that on, turn that off, but it actually put it in the spot that it's in. I have not seen a software that could bring in all of your settings from OBS and actually keep them in the same area where they were on the screen. It would always do something really funky. So we have our base canvas, we have our scenes. All I had to do was click File, Import OBS Session, and it didn't ask anything. It didn't ask me to go find the JSON file or the template that you export from OBS. It just said, hey, here's your session. I know where to find it, and I'm going to go import that and pull it into here. And then you can edit as you see fit for any of these things. So if we go to ending, this is my ending scene, and then there's credits that roll, and it has all of these options on here. Even muted the credits, because that's how I have this set up to whenever the scene transitions to here, that that is muted, and then I have music going. The music source, it didn't really pull that in because it doesn't know how to pull that in. So let me show you what I mean by that. When we are in OBS, and yes, this is OBS Inception now, we have a couple things going on in sources. I've got music, which is a YouTube music app that is separate, and I keep this separate from the Twitch VOD chat. But when I swap to a scene like BRB has something called lo-fi beats, and lo-fi beats will play automatically when the scene is live and active. So this is the playlist. It loops, it shuffles, it stops when it's not visible, and restarts when it's visible. I made no changes. We're going to discard. I kept it muted because I have music already going, but this is what it is. It's not a separate source. It shows up as a source in here because it makes noise, but it's not like I put it on a different channel in my mixer. So if I go back to live, the only thing we're hearing now is music from YouTube, which is just playing chill hop. So if I mute that, I'm not hearing anything from chill hop. Turn it back on. We're hearing stuff from chill hop. That is just from YouTube itself in the background, which is a browser source, which is going into the stream. It's not a separate audio source that's in here. So that's the big difference. Meld does not have a VLC option when you add a source. So if I go in here, I'm in OBS. If I want to add a source, I have an audio capture, input capture, application, color source, display. We have all these options. VLC video source is actually what you would pick, and you go to existing, or you can add a new one. So if you add a new one, your options are to find the playlist. So it could be a video, or it could be a folder with music, and that is what I use to play. So I was not able to add that in Meld, and that's going to be a big deal. That's kind of how I do my just chatting. That's kind of how I do like co-working, if we ever do that. That's how I do a lot of my scenes. They just have that on in the background, and that's how I do ending. So when I'm ending, it plays hype tracks. I'll mute that for now, but I have a separate set of tracks that play whenever I'm ending. So there we go. Anyways, that's a little behind the scenes of what's going on in OBS versus what's happening in Meld. Let's cut back over to Meld. All right, here we are back in Meld, and that was just a little side show of what we see in OBS for audio sources versus what we see in Meld. So we're here in the mixer, mic is going, stream is going. I've got music playing in the background to the stream, so everything's looking good there. We have, as we saw earlier, no vertical side by side to stream to horizontal and vertical at the same time. One thing I also noticed is if you change a source like the center display, I actually changed to another monitor. If if we go back, we have OBS. We go back here, we have the center, that's Meld. I changed it to here just so it's just a static screensaver and not the inception window. Interesting is what happens in OBS usually transfers to the other scenes. So if you change a source type to a different option when you swap scenes, you usually swap and it will change that as well. So you can't have the same source pointing to two different things in two different scenes unless you just rename it, make it a completely different source. I haven't renamed or done anything in this. Only thing I've changed is where it points to, and that'll usually update for all scenes. And what I noticed here, if we go to card games overlay, first of all, it's got everything completely duplicated, which is going to take a while to unduplicate if you want. So the import is not the greatest. Also, what I've seen is it took me to the Meld window. So we have the same thing, center display here. It didn't change it to this display. And why that's a problem is if you're swapping scenes and you didn't go in at every scene and change this source, even though you've got it added, the one thing I like about OBS that may be a pain if you want multiple types of monitors on multiple types of scenes is if you don't rename it and you change it, it will change for all the scenes. However, in this example, you can see that it did not. So it is defaulted to, I believe it defaulted to this one. So there's that. So if we go back, my live scene is the one I changed to just this window here. So overall thoughts, it's really easy to set up. The screen display looks really nice. The canvas is really easy to navigate. Changing your scenes has a lot of options. It gives you a checker whenever you log in to say, hey, this scene isn't going to work. This audio source isn't going to work, and so on and so forth. I can actually close it down and show that real quick. So we click out of here, and then we go and we type Meld. We open it up. The other weird thing is you get this, it doesn't look like a normal exe whenever you open it up. It looks like it's installing from the Windows Store. But here's your session doctor. So you've got sound alerts, they may not work. You've got missing windows, you've got missing screens, you've got capture device errors. Like none of these are really errors, and this would actually probably give me anxiety every time I open it. So I appreciate these sort of debugging when you get in, but there's a lot of things that actually do work. They're just not turned on. So there you go. Anyways, yeah, it's user friendly. It is great for starting up and it seems to be not so resource intensive. So that's very nice. When I stream or record, I have a 12th gen Intel and I have a 3090. And so everything that I do can handle OBS fairly well. When I had a 2080, I struggled a slight bit doing capture, had to lower some quality. So it may be good if you need less resource intensive things. If you're doing like VTubing and other stuff, it might work really well for that because you use a lot of those resources in your GPU as well. For me, I'm probably going to pass on it for now just because I do vertical content all the time and it's just so much easier to have that ready to go versus changing my canvas to do a vertical and then changing my canvas back. I don't want to have to go to file, go to preferences. I mean, you could set this macro on a Stream Deck if you really wanted to, but this is what you would be doing every single time that you did this, and then you would have to readjust that window and then you would have to go back. So for me, that's a no dog. I swap and do too much content on too many different or both canvases, so that's just really not going to work there. Otherwise, yeah, pick your format, pick your platform, and just go. The multi-streaming is a plus. I would say if you're doing multi-streaming, all of that's built in and it's free versus trying to do something like restream.io, which may charge you depending on how many connections you actually have. So if you want to give it a shot, go. It's meldstudio.co. There's no com, it's just .co. And download it, check it out, and see what you think for yourself. But for now, this is Sir Dead Knight signing off. Enjoy Meld if you're going to go download it. And if you have any issues or anything, you can always leave me a comment. I can dig in and see. I am no Meld expert yet, but I've spent a little bit of time in the platform and noodled around, and I don't mind answering questions. We'll see you next time on the channel. Thank you, and have a good one.